So in this video, I just want to make a quick little point that political correctness is really the product of atheism. I know that's probably going to offend a lot of people, but I'm just going to explain why I think what I think. If you disagree with me, respond in whatever way you think seems best to you. Political correctness is essentially the idea that there are things you should not say because of the dangerous power of words. And if we get more specific, we talk about things like microaggressions or trigger warnings. And a microaggression, so an example of microaggression would be if I were to say to you some like a racist or a sexist joke or a quick little put down that's like it's not really a big deal. It doesn't hurt anyone. It's just words. But the pen is mightier than the sword, and little jokes and little ideas propagate throughout society, and they become powerful. And the actual racist oppressions and sexist or whatever ethnic oppressions that have happened have been because the culture believed in those ideas, and those ideas propagate through the little things people say. And so the idea in political correctness is we shouldn't say things that, could lead to something like that, could lead to oppression. The problem is that the only way to stop it is to take away people's right to just say things and to control people's words, which seems like a violation of someone's basic human rights. I'm not allowed to just speak my mind. You're going to control what I'm allowed to say? Then you have every control over me. That's like thought police. This is the ultimate tyrannical, oppressive dictatorship. This is a violation of the basic right to just speak. And I know you're motivated by preventing horrible things, but you're taking away people's basic right to speak. This is evil. This is, what the Nazis did. This is what they do in North Korea. So, the thing is, this is utilitarian thought. And the classic example of a utilitarian moral experiment is, let's say there's a bus or like a trolley that's called the trolley problem. And let's say there's a trolley and there's 5 people on the trolley. And the trolley is going to crash and everyone on the trolley will clearly die. There's another person who the only way you could stop the trolley is if you were to push this other person in front of the trolley, and it would stop it. This is a hypothetical, imaginary scenario. You push the other person in front of the trolley, and that person will die in the process, but you will save 5. So that's the example. Utilitarian ethics or utilitarian morality says saving 5 lives is worth losing 1, basically. The ends justify the means as long as you do the math and the numbers right. And so that's where political correctness is coming in. It's saying we will violate your rights in this little way because we don't want hate speech or any sort of microaggressive speech to cause a huge problem in another way. Okay? So that's the idea. It's a utilitarian thought. Now, the problem with utilitarian thought, of course, is that it leads to reductio ad absurdum problems. Because if you're going to embrace utilitarianism, then you have to justify why you don't embrace it all the time, why you only embrace it some of the time. If you're going to say, I embrace utilitarianism only in this case, why only in that case? You can't just do that just for no reason at all. You need to justify it. So, the thing is, the Nazis embraced utilitarianism in all sorts of ways. Like, they killed people in nursing homes because people in nursing homes were holding back the economic progress of the nation. And the nation was in a depression. And when you have a depression, people die because poverty causes death. And so they turn their country from one of the poorest in the world to one of the wealthiest, most powerful in the world. And one of the ways they did that is they killed anyone who was a drag on the economy, and old people who aren't working, and you have to pay for all their stuff and expensive medical bills and yada yada yada. They're a drag on the economy. But they're also human beings, and you don't just kill people when they haven't done anything wrong. Well, if you're going to embrace utilitarianism and say that we need to stop people from having the right to free speech, then you also have to justify why you're not going to kill people in nursing homes. Or better yet, in America even, and in Germany too, they fixed people where they couldn't have kids if they weren't deemed, to be good genetic material. You weren't smart and wealthy and productive and healthy enough, then you can't have kids. So the idea is safety is more important than your freedoms, your right to free speech. What about voting? I mean, look at our election. We have Trump versus Hillary. Safety versus freedom. We let every random person in this country decide who runs this country. Do you not see the danger in that? That you wind up with Trump versus Hillary? Isn't democracy dangerous? Isn't it scary? Isn't it dangerous to allow people to have guns? But the idea is a person should be able to be trusted with something as simple as a gun in case they need it for whatever reason. Can't we trust each other? And it's a right that we're willing to take away sometimes when we have this politically correct mindset. Safety is more important than freedom. We want to create a safe society. Well, how far do you go with that safe society? Do you cut people's hands off because they ran a stoplight? That'll stop all people from running stoplights and no more bad accidents, and it's worth it. It's worth it. I know it's abusive. Well, that's the idea, isn't it? What if someone, just gets upset and wants to cuss at the manager of a restaurant because they were overcharged? Haul them off in the paddy wagon. We don't need that kind of antagonistic speech in our society. So, the reason I'm saying that this is atheist is because in atheism, the world is a scary, dangerous place because there's no God to look out for us. And so, therefore, it becomes makes a lot of sense to violate some freedoms for the sake of safety. But if there is a God who loves us, who knows everything, has a plan that makes sense of everything, even if we don't understand it, then there's no reason for us to take away someone's freedoms or to violate something sacred, like a person's right to just speak or to choose who runs their own country, the right of the governed to have some sort of say in how they're governed. We're not going to violate that right just because of a need for safety, because God is the one who ultimately ensures our safety. And yes, we'll do all kinds of things to make sure to try to pursue safety, but not violate your sacred, holy, God-given freedoms like the right to think what you want and say what you want. Never violate that. Okay? So that's the idea. Because God believes in your right to be wrong, because He allows all kinds of people to be wrong if they want to be. He died for our sins. Jesus Christ did. So anyway, I hope this video makes sense. Thank you for your time.